So good to see you guys. We missed you. I know we had a couple weeks with the storms. And we are excited today, because today is Heart and Vision Sunday, and it's one Sunday a year where we just kind of go over a bunch of stuff, kind of, again, set the course for the year. But before we do that, we got a few things we want to make you aware of.
We have a meeting coming up on Tuesday night at 7 p.m. here at the mill that we want to invite you to. I don't know how many of you are aware of just some recent things that have come out about Sean Bowles and Bethel. If you aren't aware, don't go look at it. You don't need to be aware. If you are aware, we are wanting to bring care to all of you. We feel so thankful to be able to be here with you guys, and we understand that some of the things that have come out are very hard to navigate, and they're painful, and we feel called to take care of all of you. And we do have experience at Bethel. We were leading there for quite some time. And if you have questions, would you like to have further conversations? If you want prayer, we're just opening up ourselves, and we'll have some of our leader team there as well tomorrow or on Tuesday night at 7 p.m. And just everyone is invited. Or if you know someone who is struggling, Sean Bowles has a prophetic voice, and many people have received stuff from him, and there's accusations and stuff that have come out against him. And so if that has causing you pain and you're navigating it, please come and join us on Tuesday night at 7 p.m.
Yep.
Here at the mill. Yep.
Right here. All right, well, today, we supposed to have Heart and Vision Sunday 2 Sundays ago, but we had something called an ice storm come through, and then a snowstorm. But we're here. We have arrived. We've made it. And what we try to do every year is we take the whole month of January, and just each Sunday is calculated, methodical, all to be able to share our heart and our vision for 2026 or for whatever year we are in. And obviously, we're into February because of the delay of storm. So today is actually our last Sunday of January, but it's in February. And we want to take some time today to kind of just wrap up kind of our final charges for the year. We're going to go over some great information, some recapping from 2025, some financial stuff, as well as just some other things that are really great to celebrate, and just want to just kind of open that up today. There's 3 things we're going to do. We're going to go over financial recaps. We're going to go over 2025 recaps, as well as point to 2026. And then many of you participated in a survey at the end of last year, and we've got some fun little things that we learned about that. We'll share that with you guys. And then we have a couple people on our team coming up. They'll share with you as well. And then last but not least, Candace now will kind of give some charges, a few things that we think are important. And as you know, we can't sum up everything in one 30 to 40-minute talk. We just want to hit some of the bigger items, and knowing that in the weeks and months to come, we'll continue to unpack that. If you were here on the first Sunday, and by chance, if you were not here on the first Sunday of the year, there were 2 ideas or 2 phrases that we put before us as we were leaning into this year. And the phrase was taking ground and... Oh, I'm impressed. And for those of you that might have missed that, we talked about 2 ideas, taking ground and expanding territory. They don't conflict, but they're actually 2 very different ideas. Taking ground, and we talked a lot about taking ground personally in our own life, in our inner world, in our own relationships. And then there is something about the external reality of moving forward into where God is opening up doors in so many different spaces. And then expanding territory more wrestles with the idea of what you already possess or what you already occupy. There's an expansion of those things. And it's very foundational. It's very much stewarding what's going on. And then there's this advancement. And so I've had several of you in the last few weeks come up to me and say, it's already begun in my life where I have taking ground and I'm expanding territory. And some of you have come up and said, man, taking ground is definitely something that's happening. And others of you said, I feel like God is just expanding territory. So that's kind of 2 ideas that we kind of kicked the year off. And I want to bring that back to our forefront of our mind as we go into the Heart and Vision Sunday.
Another thing that we are looking forward to and stepping into is more freedom this year. Does anyone feel like, gosh, it's time for me to get more free? We weren't created to actually live in a cage, and Jesus came that we could be free. And so this is part of us stepping into our portion. And we're being intentional to create spaces for us to engage with truth in a way of stepping in the light with God and with each other, as well as continuing to grow and mature in God's love. And that takes place as we're in spaces of worship together and we're receiving more of his love, but it's also in spaces where we're connecting with one another and connecting in the body, where we get to give love and receive love. There's healing that's happening in this space. So what we're looking forward to this year is freedom, maturity in love, and continuing just to grow and to step into the things that God has for us. I love 1 John 1, verse 5 through 7. It says, "This is a message we have heard from him and declare to you. God is light. In him there is no darkness." It says, "at all. If we claim to have fellowship with him and yet walk in the darkness, we lie and do not live out truth. But if we walk in the light, as he is in the light, then we have fellowship with one another, and the blood of Jesus, his son, purifies us from all sin." This is big, wonderful scripture to read. It's great things to know. It's another thing to live out. And we get the opportunity to engage with each other, to show up. We can all come to this room, but this year, we are intentionally going to show up. We're intentionally going to step in the light with each other. We're putting out challenges to all of us to cultivate those kind of relationships that we can do that. So we just feel like this is a really pivotal time for us to respond to the invitation of God and actually respond to who he is as light. So it's going to be a really good year.
And so what we want to do now, go ahead and go to the next slide. And what we want to do right now, I want to kind of walk you guys through Studio's financial architecture. But I have to apologize. The slide up there, I wasn't able to test it before we showed up. There's an arrow on the screen. You just can't see it. And you see where it says Studio Heart and Vision? That's the tip of the arrow, and then there's this whole arrow. So just, if you could just impose that over the screen in your mind. Can we all do that? Would you help me out? Okay. Oh, on the TVs. Oh, okay, the TV. All right, that's just for you people. Everyone else, I need you to use your imagination today, and so on and so forth. But there's an arrow, and the reason why I want you to see this is because Studio's Heart and Vision, which we've unpacking, will continue to unpack, there is an actual financial framework or an architecture that is aimed in that direction. And so this is how we steward our resources to form people, to build the church, the local church, as well as to serve humanity. The first area, so go ahead and go to the next slide. Oh, sorry, one more phrase. We exist to be a place where God and people meet, encountering God, becoming a dynamic church, and serving humanity. We pick the word dynamic church for multiple reasons. Is sometimes when we just say church, sometimes we think one-dimensional, but we really have a dream that Studio becomes dynamic in every way we can imagine, that we aren't known for one thing, and we don't live our faith out in one avenue, but it's dynamic. It's all over the place. It's touching all parts of society. It's touching all parts of our lives, our relationship. It's touching everyone from the left to the right, that we're actually dynamic. And so that idea is something that's really important to us. And if you've been with us for a season, you probably can tell we talk about numerous things, and really that is because we want to be a dynamic church. And then, of course, we want to serve humanity. If we go to the next slide, the first block has to do with people. I want to talk for a few minutes why this is important. Everything here is about forming people. Local church is designed to help form people to be disciples. We want to help people encounter God. We want to discover our identity and live out our calling. This includes pastors and leaders, our development, leadership development, our different volunteers, anything in our environment that touches people and is aimed at people. This involves our youth, our studio kids, studio young adults, our classes, our studio homes, anything, hospitality. I could keep going and keep going, but there's anything that has to do with people, that is a first building block of what it takes to build this house and our financial architecture. And we're going to go over numbers in just a few minutes here, but I want to kind of lay out this framework first. So let's go to the next slide. This one is generosity and care. Now, if you've been here for 2 seconds, you notice we talk about generosity a lot. And the reason is because we feel we have an opportunity to be the most generous people because he was generous with us first. And we get to live a life that reflects that in every area of our life. And so we have There are two main avenues in studio that our finances and our resources are aimed outward, not just into what's happening within the local church. One avenue, and I'll talk about the other one in a few minutes, one avenue is generosity and care. This specific area is a specific number that is built within our annual budget. What that means is every year we have made a commitment to give roughly 8 to 10% of our annual budget away outside of the house to all kinds of organizations. This could be for benevolence, for people in the community. This could also be for local organizations, local ministries, local initiatives that are helping to serve what good work that people are doing. It also helps to support different ministries locally, nationally, and even internationally. So this is just about 8 to 10% of our budget. It built in with the idea like we're going to give this away at some point throughout the year. So that's generosity and care. Let's go to the next slide. The next one is spaces and places. This is our buildings. This is our operations. This is our systems. This is the electricity bill. This is all the spaces and places, kind of the backbone, the facilities, if you will, as well as operations and our system to help run what's happening in studio. Let's go ahead and go to the next area, which is the final block, final category for our architecture. It's resourcing and project. I mentioned a minute ago, generosity and care is built within our annual budget to give away outside of studio. Resourcing and project is actually money that we raise in the year to fund something. And we'll talk about different percentages there in a few minutes. And this is important because this is some of the examples of project have been 2 years ago. We raised, as a church, $50,000 to buy a brand new Ford truck for a local ministry called Mill Village Ministries. And so this church, that will be a project that came up in the year. We stood before you and said, we want to get behind this, and we all raised money within about a week, about 3 to 5 days, and then someone just capped it off at the very end to bring it home. But it took it about a week to raise $50,000, which I think is pretty incredible to be able to do that, by the way. Just want to make that known. Our most recent project, which was last year, is the Romania bathroom project, which a bunch of you participated. And in one Sunday morning, we raised $65,000 to completely fund the project. Yeah, give it up for that as well. So generosity and care built into our annual budget. Resources and project is money we raise in the year for different initiatives, projects, etc. Now resources, I want to draw your attention to that word. Resources is there's something on studio. If you know this or not aware of it, I just want to make everyone aware of it. Studio is a unique little community of people who we deeply love, but what I want you to know is people are coming from all over the world just to hang out for a minute. They're coming to hang out with you. They're coming to be in an environment, to be in a space. We have people that come in just for a weekend, and then they kind of go back to wherever they're from. And then we have extreme scenarios, positively extreme scenarios, like Misha and Odie, who came from Switzerland, and they're pastors of a church, put their job on pause for a year, came here for a year just to be in this environment, and they're friends with so many of you. And by the way, we're going to go see them in June, which we're very excited about. But Misha and Odie came for a year to kind of be discipled, or to be mentored, and to help grow as leaders, and to learn a culture and to dream about the future of the church for where they live back in Switzerland. So we are, and we're also becoming a church that is resourcing leaders, resourcing people, and that's something I want to bring to our attention today. Yes, this is a local church for this body, but I want you to understand there's something beautiful happening in this community that's grabbing the attention of leaders around the world, and they want to participate and learn and come into an environment of people. And believe me, it's not about Eric and Candace. It's about studio. And that's what I want you to really grab a hold of, and that's the value that we have such a passion for. When these kind of people come in, I'm like, I need you to meet these 5 people. It's not just for us. It's actually, I want them to experience the beauty of this community. So that's resourcing, and some of the things that we did recently, there's lots of little things, but probably the biggest thing we did in 2025 was our Inspire Conference, which we did last April. And we had a lot of people in the church come to that, but we had a lot of people from the upstate, around the country, and we had a couple people come from overseas just to be a part of the Inspire Conference. And so resourcing and projects are aimed outward, but we raise money for them within the year. Did that make sense? Yeah. Okay, you guys still with me? Yeah. All right. The next slide, if you can go there, this is people. I want to read this to you. I want you to understand why this is important and why this accounts for 57% of our budget. This is the heart of Studio. We invest in forming people, helping them encounter God, grow as disciples, discover their identity, and live out their calling. It includes our pastors, our leaders, our creative and worship team, environment that serve every generation, so kids, youth, young adults, all the way up. This portion of the budget directly fuels spiritual formation, pastoral care, leadership development, and community life. What we're doing to build the community strength here, shaping resilient, hopeful, spirit-formed disciples who carry Jesus into every sphere of culture. Did anybody resonate with that last sentence? Shaping resilient. Are you guys with me today? Shaping resilient, hopeful, hope-filled, spirit-formed disciples that carry Jesus into every sphere of culture. And so this area of people is very important to us. We invest so much time and resources and money into that because it's within that we actually can touch humanity and to be able to move and see the kingdom. As Ben said earlier, the kingdom is advancing. And God had a crazy idea and said, I need you to help advance what I want to do on the earth. And so we invest in people. And this is why it's a significant portion of our annual budget. The next slide I want to draw your attention to, and again, remember there's two different avenues that we give money away and resource. The next one is generosity and care. This is our outward expression, some examples of different local initiatives. The generosity and care actually helps to fund the kindness department, which is our bridge into the city to serve different initiatives. So this is where we serve Greenville Parks and Recreation, Front Porch Housing, PMAC are just a few of them that have come up. We also partner with another organization, the Messenger International. How many are familiar with John and Lisa Bevere? A few of you. If you don't know them, they're some dear friends. We've known them for a number of years, and they're doing some amazing things around the world, and I don't think they get enough recognition for it. But we're a part of an annual event where they spend a majority of their ministry taking material and resources and translating them into language. They're in over 190 different languages because most of these languages, and our last event, which was last summer, I believe, if I remember correctly, there's 40 specific languages that are in some of they say a percentage of those don't have any Christian resource in their language at all. There's nothing available, yet people are giving their life to Jesus and have no training, have no research, have nothing. It's all verbal. And so what they're doing intentionally, and we're part of an event where they raised about $2 to $3 million in about 45 minutes. It's unbelievable. I mean, we're in the room, and it's just unbelievable. People are fighting over paying for projects. You've been to an auction where they auction things off and whatever the profits are, they go to proceeds. They don't do that. They auction off projects, which is, do you want to pay $30,000 to translate this resource into X language that will be given away to 10,000 leaders? And people are fighting over that to the tune of $2 to $3 million in about 45 minutes. It's remarkable. So we partner with them, and we help to resource. And so our money that we're all contributing to the budget actually helping to fuel the advancement of the message of Jesus all over the world in languages that have no resources in their native language. I think that's a good thing, and I want to be a part of that. And believe it or not, you guys have been a part of it. If you've given any finances, it had gone in that direction. And so that's an exciting thing when it comes to just an organization, one of the organizations we partner with outside of Studio and outside of the upstate. Let's go to the next slide. This one is spaces and places. This has to do with our buildings. This has to do with our operations. This has to do with our systems. This is the backbone of Studio. And if you've run any organization, you know how valuable this is. But the emphasis of this is these buildings, I look at our buildings, our systems, and our operations as incubators to create disciples that love Jesus and bring the message of him into every area of life. So they help to facilitate what God is doing in Studio and will continue to facilitate. And we'll talk a little bit about future buildings in a few minutes. But this is spaces and places. These are all of our operations, our facilities, and systems that help to fuel what's happening here. Let's go to the next slide. Last but not least is resources and projects. Now, just to remind you, this is money that we raise within the year for giving away or project, etc. This one's important because when you look at generosity and care and resources and project, when you put that together, 18% is heading outward to a ministry, an organization, an initiative. What happened this last year, some friends of ours, this is actually came out of our the generosity and care. I have some good friends that pastor a church here, and they're hitting a very hard they're still in a rough spot financially as a church. And so I had lunch with them. It's our regular lunch, and we're sitting there, and I said, hey, how are things going? What's going on? And he said, Eric, it's been a very tough season, and he kind of laid it out for me. And whenever I meet with pastors and they talk about tough seasons, my next question is, how are the finances? Because tough seasons in a church equate to finances get really tough. And he said, we're really short right now. I said, okay. And I didn't say anything in the lunch. I got back to the office, and I told Amy, I said, I want you to wire them $10,000 to help serve a local church, to help make payroll, to help do what they're doing. So I just want you to know, you guys are contributing to really good things. And today I just want to stand up and tell you, your money is doing some amazing things in our city, in our country, and around the world. And so 18% of what comes into studio is actually already planned to head out. And I think that's something that we should be celebrating. And I'm excited to see that grow and even become more effective and even more strategic. And I just want to say thank you for your continued generosity and your continued trust in our ability to to steward our resources. And so today, really, just to stand up here and say, guys, there's so many beautiful things happening. We're taking care of the home front. We're serving our city, and we're serving the world all at the same time. And I don't know about you, but I get excited about the more opportunities that come our way so we can continue to get behind. Well, let's go to the next slide. I'm going to have Scott Kennedy come up. Scott, why don't you come on up? Give it up for the one and only Scott. And Scott and Julie are actually on our studio board, and Scott is our treasurer. And for those of you that are not aware, our accounting and our finances is managed by a third party. We hire a local accounting firm to manage our books, to keep us compliant and all that stuff. But Scott is our treasurer. And I wanted him, we met recently, a few times actually, and he shared some things that I thought were really encouraging, and I think you guys should hear about it. So go for it.
Yeah, good to see everybody. Just to give you a little background, I've got about 30 years experience working with books in one way or the other. I did the books for my own company for 20 years, and I did the books for a couple other companies. So I've seen a lot of P&L statements and balance sheets and statements of cash flow. And I just want to let you know that having gone through line by line the P&Ls and the information for studio, the finances are handled very conservatively and very responsibly. It's just a blessing to look at it and to see what's being done. I actually had to do a little bit of research because I'm not really familiar with church finances. So I went and just did some research of what do budgets look like for churches? How much should be spent on wages and buildings and et cetera? And there's always a range, like within this area of this many percentages. And for studio, we're always on that low side of the range. We're not pushing the expensive side. We're on the conservative side. We're on the responsible. So I just want to ensure you that everything at studio is done very fiscally responsible. So hats off to Eric and Candace. It's just really fun to look at. We did have one thing, though, on the budget of 2025, is that there was a shortfall. We came up a little bit short, a little over $100,000. And the reason for that was not because money was spent wildly, it was because the income decreased from the previous years. And you can't budget for that. You know, you just expect things to be as they are, if not increase. And when there's a shortfall, it's like, oh, okay. And so Eric asked me, he said, what do you think we should do for 2026? Because, I mean, I was in business for 20 years. You have revenue and you have expenses. And you either increase your revenue or you reduce your expenses. And I said, well, there's no fat in the budget. There's no areas that are bloated or like, well, we're spending too much money here. The only way we could reduce expenses is if we go backwards on what we're doing. If we take the things that we're doing right now and we do less of them. And I said, I just don't feel that. It just doesn't seem right. I think we're in an area where we're supposed to be going forward and doing more than we've done before, and it seems like it's a time for growth, not for reduction. I said the shortfall, it's nothing. If every giving unit, and a giving unit is defined like, how do you give? As a family, that's one giving unit. A couple, that's one giving unit. Individuals, a giving unit. Depends how you give. If you take the deficit and divide it by the giving units, it's about $5 a week per giving unit. I mean, that's a cup of coffee. It's a typical example. We can do that. I mean, I think we can go so far beyond that. So I told Eric, I said, my feeling on 2026, it's like that song we sang. The story is not finished that God is writing about what's going on here, not only for our individual lives, but what we're doing as a church. There's a story to write here, and I think we've got a part in, to play in that. And let's gather together, rally together. I just think there's so much more. I mean, Julie and I, a couple months ago, we decided, hey, we just want to start giving to the building. We're just going to, there's a line item, drop down, says building fund. It's like every week we just want to start giving to the building to say, Lord, we're not there yet, but we believe in the vision of what would it be like if we had a place where we could all meet both services at the same time, where we could have facilities and things that we could do more things in the community. I mean, just the vision of more that we could operate in. Let's start sowing into that now and say, we believe in it. Let's just lay up money aside that when the time comes, we've got the money in the bank. So I just say it was great for the transparency of Eric and Candace to show what's in the budget, and it really looks good. I just say let's just add to the storehouse.
That's cool. Thank you. Thank you, Scott. And to give you a number to that shortfall, it was around $130,000, and we had enough cash on hand to absorb that shortfall. We didn't have to touch our reserves. And so just know that, but we also know it's not sustainable at this current trend. And so we've made some adjustments to 2026's budget, and we'll be monitoring it closely. But I thought it'd be important for you to hear from Scott, and I believe this is the year where we don't actually slow down, but we just continue. But we'll also be sustainable and wise about how we move forward. And so that is at the forefront of our mind, and I just want to make you guys aware of that. So let's go to the next slide. What I want to do now, I want to talk a little bit about looking ahead into 2026 and putting this before you at the beginning of the year so you can begin to be aware and to begin to talk through with yourself, your spouse, your boyfriends, your girlfriends, your moms or dads or whatever your family unit is. And resources and project, as I mentioned to you, are the part of our budget that is raised within the year, and it's not built into the tithes and offering parts of our budget. It is raised for project, which we mentioned. So here's some opportunity. Now, I want to focus on project just for a moment. I put waiting for an opportunity because this stuff just comes up throughout the year. The Mill Village truck came up randomly in the year. The Romania bathroom came up randomly in the year. And I don't know about you, but there's plenty of opportunities around the world, locally, nationally, and internationally. So I just wanted you to know, I just earmarked a plan for us to raise $70,000. And God, when I realize, when I start repeating myself, it's my way of saying, I'm really excited about this. But I'll tell you what, it is incredibly meaningful to live in a place of confidence that when I hear or we hear these opportunities that arise, and I say, oh, our church got this. I believe our church wants to get behind this. And it's happened 2 years in a row, and one of them was the truck. I stood before you right up here, and I said, guys, there's a ministry down the street. They need a truck to continue their effort that are helping to mentor young people in specific areas. And I stood up here, and I said, I believe we can raise $50,000. Most of it came in within the first 3 or 5 days, and then someone reached out and said, what's the remaining amount? I'll take care of it. So it took us less than a week, about a week or so, to raise $50,000. You know what that does? It just goes, we got this. Like, we can do this. And then last year I stood up here and we said, hey, there's a bathroom in Romania that needs a serious expansion and overhaul. And guess what? In one Sunday morning, 2 gatherings, we raised all $65,000. So I just want to celebrate that. Yeah, clap. This is worth celebrating. So I don't have a project in mind, but if you want to start front-loading it, you can do that. And then the next area is resources. Inspire Conference is something we've done. We want to continue to do, though. That's become really meaningful, and it's actually helping to expand a broader view of how God wants to touch humanity, and that's been really fun. But the second line item I want you to look at is leaders gathering. Candace and I have been feeling a growing sense, and it's happening more relational with us, but we feel a growing sense that there's leaders all over the world, including locally, but leaders all over the world that need to come into an amazing city called Greenville and spend a few days where they can get refreshed, they can get renewed, they can capture vision. I have leaders reaching out that I've lost vision. Can I come spend a few days with you so I can get vision again for the church, or I can get vision again for the future? And I'm like, hurry up and get over here. Let's talk. You need to be around people. So there's something that we're feeling. And when Julian was here just a couple weeks ago, he brought that back up for us. And they just reignited some things. So at some point, whether it's in the 2026 or the beginning of 27, we're working on it. We want to do a leaders gathering where we invite leaders from all over the world to come and spend 2 or 3 days to be renewed, to be refreshed, to get vision again, as well as creating a space to dream about the future of the church and how do we touch humanity as we move into the future. And I want to invite you guys, if you want to sow into that to help fund that idea, that's what resources, so it'll go towards Inspire Conference, it'll go towards leaders gathering, and then resourcing churches. There's some ideas that we have around that. So when you give into specifically resourcing and project, it will help to fund these ideas. Now, on the bottom of the slide, you'll notice future buildings. And that's something I don't even know how to emphasize. Before we ever arrived in Greenville, and especially after we arrived, I have knocked on just about every real estate door you can imagine. I have learned this city in and out. I have been in so many buildings. I love when many of you text me, have you seen this building? I said, oh yeah, I've been in that building 3 times. Have you heard about this building? Oh yeah, that one's not going to work. And I'm just so familiar. So this is my heart posture right now. I'm going to keep knocking on doors, and I'm going to keep talking. I got an agent that is looking for us. So we're going to continue to do that. But here's my heart posture. While we are diligent and knocking on all the doors, I'm waiting for God to surprise us. That is my posture in 2026. And so that's what's in our mind. But I've had more people, and Scott just mentioned for him and Julie, I've had more people toward the end of 2025. So I feel like I'm supposed to put money into the future building. Now, many of you know when you find a house that you want to move into, you don't start saving then. Because someone else is going to snag it before you can accrue enough cash to actually purchase it or to put a down payment or whatnot. So our philosophy around future building is we're putting money aside so when the opportunity comes, we're able to move quickly instead of having to rally. So if that resonates in your heart, and so starting today, there's 3 drop-down menus on Overflow. And that's our giving platform. And these will always be there. Tithes and offering, which is our main one, which funds a majority of the budget that we've shared with you. The second one is resources and projects, and you can see where that's going to go this year. And then the third one is future building. And so we want to make you guys aware of that. If you want to sow into that, tithes and offering is what funds the basic operations of a local church. And then the other 2 are very designated and specific to those specific things. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. I don't know about you. I'm just excited about this year. I'm excited about the future. I believe we have incredible opportunities in front of us. And I want the world to experience you as a local church. You don't know what you have until you leave it. You really don't. And I don't even know. So sometimes I got to step out and go, oh man, I have it. We have something beautiful and we should all be proud of. And so when people are coming in to visit for a weekend or coming in for a season, my first thought is you need to meet these 5 people, because this is not about Eric and Candace. This is about a community of people that have chosen to go after God and to fall madly in love with Jesus and to see his purposes get expressed on the earth. And I want people to be around this community, and so we're really dreaming about that. Okay, let's go to the next slide. And if you would welcome Jess Mullen. I don't know where Jess is. Jess is coming. She's in the back. Give it up for Jess as she comes up. And she's going to share a few things about kindness department in the city for 26.
Good afternoon, studio. Eric's been talking to us about how we've been spending our money last year. I would like to spend a little bit of time talking about how we've been spending our time. And so the first thing I want to do is give a quick review about last year, We're going to talk a little bit about next year, and then I want to finish with a thought about the need, okay? So first of all, if you are participating in the Kindness Department last year, I'm going to read off a bunch of different events and projects and Greenville partners, and if you participated in any of them, giving or volunteering, I want you to stand up, okay? There are 7. The first one is Poe Mill Achievement Center, or PMAC. So if you volunteered with our cleanup day or kids' dinners, go ahead and stand and stay standing. Next is Poe Mill Skate Park Cleanup. If you participated in that, go ahead and stand up. If you participated in Love Seniors, visiting seniors in the senior homes. If you participated in our City of Greenville Park cleanups, you can stand. If you participated in Summer of Kindness when we went to the farmer's market or cleaned up at Unity Park, you can stand. And then if you participated in our front porch housing gift card drive, or if you were part of eating that pig that we roasted on site and then donated the money, you can stand, even if you ate barbecue. And then Fit Fam Club, when we did Fit Fam Club in the summers and we did those free exercises in the park. Okay, thank you guys for being kind this year. Hold on, don't clap yet. I want you to know what these guys did, all right? They built tables, hauled tires, washed buses. They drove skid steers, they wrote cards, they sang hymns. They donated socks, they played the violin, they pulled weeds, they spread gravel, they made cards, they ran bases, they knocked on doors, they built tables, they went to Walmart during Christmas season, and they also bought popsicles for people who were overheated when it was 90 degrees past summer. But most importantly, they were very kind in the upstate. So can we give it a round of applause for these volunteers? Thank you guys. It was an amazing start last year. And when it comes to this year, we're going to keep doing it, all right? So all these things that I just said, we're going to continue doing. We're going to continue in partnership with these organizations. And I read off that list because I want to encourage you, if you weren't able to stand today, you can stand with us in 2027, because I think everyone can do one of the things that I just mentioned. Another thing you will see that will change a little bit, you saw Ben Moore up here this morning giving an announcement about going out and spreading the name of Jesus. So we're incorporating some new events about evangelism and spreading the name of Jesus in Greenville, because we want to do good works and we want to do them in his name. So we want people to come to know him this year. So if that's something you're also passionate about, I'd like for you to join us on one of those prayer walks. We have some really exciting ones planned later this year, the first one being on the 19th. But for most of what we've gotten to do, we're really excited about where the Kindness Department has started and where we're going. I want to share just one thought on the need, okay? I'm going to say this one statistic, and it's a little bit hard, so like hold your breath or whatever. I read a statistic that said 60% of Americans right now are actually not optimistic about the future. And if you know anything about, and that wasn't just like on TikTok, that was like a Pew Research study that came out in December 2025, so it's kind of serious. Americans are historically very optimistic, and so when you think about that number, that only 60% of the Americans they surveyed said they were hopeful for the future, I think it kind of shows you that there's people in this world who need the light of Jesus. And you guys carry hope that we're not going to keep in the walls at the mill. We're going to take into the city of Greenville this year. That's what the Kindness Department is about. So I would like for you to all say with me, I carry hope. And that's what we're going to do this year with the Kindness Department. And so I want you guys to join us. You have 3 opportunities this month alone, but we're really excited for what's to come. We're just getting started, and I want to thank you guys for being part of our first year last year. Thank you guys.
Yeah, I want to be a people that fight for hope and fight for life. And so let's be that people. Candace is going to join me now. We're going to do a quick little recap on the survey. And you guys, so many of you helped fill out the survey, and want to take a few minutes to talk about that.
Yeah, at the end of the year, we did a survey. 114 people or households responded to the survey. It's a mix of those. And we learned a lot of things. See, our heart is to understand more of who you are. So, because we are called to build the church and to pastor the people that are here at Studio. And so thank you for those who responded. We learned a lot of different things. One of the things we wanted to bring to you is we asked, what helps you grow in your faith? And we thought this was interesting. Majority of the people who responded said in the teaching and preaching. That was one area that helped them grow in their faith. Secondly, they said corporate worship, what a gift it is to worship together, that's a space that we are growing. And then the third one down is being in a studio home. And we also, one of the other questions we asked is, where do you feel most connected at studio? And I want to share the results of this because I encounter different people who are like, gosh, I'm at studio, but I don't feel connected. Well, out of 114 people who responded, I can tell you where they feel most connected. The top 3 are in a studio home, attending Sundays regularly, and then with the people that they pray with. And so if you're in this place and you're like, gosh, how are you all feeling connected? I'm like, I would check out a studio home. If you're not joining us in any of our weekly prayers, we pray Sunday mornings. We pray Tuesday mornings on Zoom. You don't even have to leave your house. And there's something being cultivated in connection of hearts as we're in these spaces. And then regularly attending Sunday is an interesting thing. We make a commitment to be here, but when you show up consistently in a space, it means that you're consistently being seen. You're consistently interacting. And what happens with consistency? You actually begin to build relationship. And so we were encouraged by all of that. And as well, we learned a lot of great things and other great things in the survey.
So we'll go to the next slide. And there's a couple statements that kind of emerge, kind of overarching statements. And the first one is, people feel the presence of God here. This is not a nice worship set church.
Thank you, Reva and team.
This is a no nice worship sets. This is a God met me there church. And we thought, oh, we got to talk about that. I think that's so cool. I mean, when you say you're a place where God and people meet, you hope people are meeting God there. So, but Reva, no nice worship sets. So, and then the other one that really emerged, and Candace already mentioned it, was studio homes are a primary engine of connection. It's a primary place in our environment. And so if that's something that you haven't participated in yet, or you have a heart to be a leader in that, we have opportunities throughout the year to help do that. And then the one that was really exciting for me, and as you can imagine for Shayna as well, is that creativity is not a side dish. It's actually now viewed as part of my discipleship. And I don't know, I got excited about that because for so many years, creativity is this sideshow. It's this thing over here, but it's actually not a part of my following God. And so to hear some of the response from you guys that I actually look at creativity as part of my formation and my discipleship and following Jesus, that was just, so I'm like, we're doing something good here, and I'm just really proud of that. And then the last is, again, thank you so much for taking the survey, and it was very helpful.
Yeah, we learned a lot of things. A couple of things that we will continue to do because of the survey. It just encourages us, is we'll continue to develop the smaller, intimate spaces where we're gathering, doing life on life and following Jesus and growing in our faith together. We feel really passionate about that. As well as we learned that we want to continue to improve and to strengthen our volunteer language, our pathways, so that it's easier to get engaged. And we got great feedback there. And so just know it's our heart to continue to steward well and grow and strengthen what we're doing here at Studio, because we're thankful to be doing it with you guys.
Yep. And then the last...
Before we go there, this is funny. So I drew these names, I think at the very end of December, the results were, or the surveys were due, and we said that we would give 2 giveaways to 2 people who submitted the survey. And I just put all the names in chat, and it gave me 2 names. And so Michaela was in the first service, and this person just seems to be getting highlighted a lot. The other person was Miss Judy French. I know.
Judy.
So Judy, here's a gift card for you, lady.
ChatGPT likes you.
Thank you for filling out the survey.
The robots like you, Judy. So we're going to take just a few more minutes. Thanks so much for being. This is a really important Sunday to us because we want a chance to just open up, be transparent about the finances, what happened, and where we're headed, as well as just an opportunity for us to kind of give some final charges. There's 2 things I want to put in front of you as we wrap up today. And the first one is this, is that we would be a house of healing and reconciliation for the human soul, for people, for faith, and for ethnicities. Revelation 7:9 paints this one of the most beautiful, iconic, epic pictures of all nations, all tongues, all cultures, worshiping together. And that's something that we are believing for. It's something that we fought for from day one and will continue to. And so I just want to say that out loud again. We're going to be a house of hope, a house of healing and reconciliation for the human soul, for people, for faith, and ethnicities. And so Revelation 7:9. The second thing that I want to say, and this one has a sense of, the other one has urgency, but there's a long game involved that one. This one, I feel like we need to make sure we're doing it. It's imperative that we continue to move towards the missional purposes of Jesus, of taking our faith outside of a church community. We have to understand that our following Jesus was never designed to be a private and only with people that understand you and follow Jesus type of relationship.